Hi, everybody, and welcome to Joe's Computer Museum, to our wonderful little live stream talking about cool new stuff in the Joe's Computer Museum panoply, or whatever that is. I want to take a minute to thank everybody who stopped by to listen to the stream tonight, listen to me basically hawk my wares and the wares of all of my wonderful vendors and compatriots here. We got a lot of people in chat. We got Trina, Scarlett, Callan, Frank, S, Gutbomb. What are you doing? We got Eric. What are all these? You're here. You don't have to talk in this to chat. It's fine. This does not compute. Oh my gosh, a Colin is here. Hi, Colin. Michael, that's yes. And Francois and other peeps. So again, thank you all for stopping by and saying hi. Henry Nunez is here as well. Yes, we tonight have wonderful vendors and compatriots, people who have been helping me with creating some really cool stuff over the years, and hopefully I get to help them present that stuff out to the world. We have a quick round table of who we have here tonight. We have Ron from Ron's Computer Videos. We have Gutbomb from Gutbomb. We have One Bit Fever Dreams from the wonderful Great White North. We have Eric BlueSCSI from also sort of Great White North, but not quite Canada. And Sloopy X Malibu. I hear that the X stands for Charles Xavier. So, what we were going to talk... No. So what we're going to talk about tonight real quick is basically just kind of a community update to let everybody know what's going on in the JCM world, and to let them know, hey, we got a lot of cool things to help keep your old computers running. A lot of new things and things that are coming up as well that span just beyond the Macintosh. A lot of people know me in this community for Macs and Apples, but we're doing a lot of extra things as well. So I wanted to basically go with each vendor in turn and give them an opportunity to talk about what's going on new in their world, old in their world, things like that. First, we have to unfortunately go, even though he's hiding down there in the corner with A&W root beer, I guess, is Sloopy. Sloopy
not sponsored.
What's that?
Not sponsored.
Not sponsored, yes.
But we are sponsored by Long John Silver, so that's weird, right?
Yeah,
you normally get both.
They left my town
sponsored
too,
by
so
Red Lobster.
Oh, that's right.
yes. So Sloopy, I wanted to give you the opportunity to talk about the cool thing that you are doing in the JCM store, which is relatively new, and I don't think a lot of people know about it. I think it's important that we really get that out there. So why don't you step up to that? Tell us what's going on with the
Raminator. What Joe is talking about is a collaboration between Frodo Jedi and I. Frodo Jedi has been looking into the whole thing for the Raminator, and he's been talking to Doug Brown, I do believe it is, and we got permission and the okay to make the Raminator, both the Raminator 1, which is actually on sale now at JCM-1, for the Mac Plus and for the Mac 128 and 512. We also got permission to remake the Raminator 2, which works in your 68030 Macs, the 2CI, 2CX, 2SI, and that other machine I don't remember the name of.
SE30.
Yes, that one.
The SE30, the one that most people are probably going to end up using it in. Yes.
Right. And we are also in collaboration with Doug Brown with a couple upgrades for the SIMM programmer. So we're hopefully having that released by the end of the year. For more information on the Raminator V1, which is available now, because we can't really do a lot in a small little video. A friend of mine, Ken of Canadian Retro Things, has done a video, and I'm putting the link to the video in the chat stream.
Cool.
And that can give you the majority of the information on it. If you have any more questions, you can contact me through the usual channels or email sloopy@digitalglass.us.
You can also contact us through my website. There's a contact form on jcm-1.com if you don't want to remember email addresses. Yep.
Email is so passe.
And Sloopy, if you put a link in, we can't see it because you're not an admin. So.
Oh, well then, why not?
Well, because I need you to like put something in the chat that I can see that I can then make you an admin with.
Or you could just put it in the private chat
Or put it in the private
paste
chat.
it in too.
Paste it, yeah.
He needs to get his mod power.
Boop. Boop.
Yeah, I am not talking in there.
So yeah, cool.
But,
So yeah, you should be able to do that now. Yeah. So cool beans. If I remember correctly, are you not also working on? Even though you were kind of beleaguered by some of the chips, I think you were working on some 30-pin SIMM-a-doodles.
Yep, that is. Let's set that down over there. That's the next thing up.
Cool.
These are 30-pin, 1 meg, 4 meg, 1 meg. One of them, 1 meg.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry. I let my mind wander. It never came back, so I replaced it with a can of beans, which isn't worth a hill of beans. Isn't worth a hill of beans. So, but yeah, what's so special about these 30-pin SIMMs? Because there's millions of them on the internet. Well, when IBM first introduced its line of PS2s, they released it before the full 30-pin spec was released. And so they made these 30-pin SIMMs. Well, unfortunately, JDEC decided to do something silly. Yes, I know. IBM did the logical way to do it, and JDEC decided to do the illogical when it comes to 30-pin SIMMs with 9 bits. The parity bit is done differently on the IBM SIMMs as opposed to standard 30-pin SIMMs. So early IBM PS2s like the Model 25, the Model 30, Model 50, 60, and the 80, I do believe, use these special 30-pin SIMMs. And the delaying factor, because these have been made for a while, has been figuring out how to reliably solder the chips onto the board. Because
they're so close together.
Yeah, they're so close together. The space between the chips, between the legs of the chips, because it uses surface mount chips, is about the thickness of 2 business cards. I guess these young kids don't know how thick a business card is because they've never seen one. But
there's
it's the thickness of 2 Pokemon cards. Got it.
Okay.
It's like if you took 2 LinkedIn profiles and just put them side by side
on their edge.
Mm-hmm.
So getting them, getting in between them, because you can see how the. Let's see here if we can get it.
Yeah, it's pretty tight. We can see it. Yeah.
Because in between here is where it is.
Yeah.
So, and I've finally gotten one out of 6 made that actually works. So the PCB, it has been tested and works, and we will be making an order of a lot more PCBs so that we can actually get them into the store and into people's hands.
Nice.
Cool. And those, because the machines are still out there floating around for people to play with, but the RAM upgrades are non-extant basically because they're very special, especially if people are scavenging them from certain machines to upgrade other machines and stuff. What you got is all these IBMs out there floating out there that just they can't do the thing that they need to do. So yeah.
Yeah, because average pricing for the 256K version of these is about $20 per sim.
Oof.
The 1 meg can be anywhere from $25 up to $50 per sim.
Oof. Did you have an idea on a price point for the replacements you're doing?
We are considering around. We're targeting the $50 for 2 sims, so $25 per sim.
So it's comparable in price to what you can get used for, but they're not used and they're using.
Well, used are like $50 each. These are
so it's half basically. Yeah.
Yeah. Basically, we're doing half.
I can't do math, so thank you for the math. Yes.
Yes. Mm-hmm. But yeah, we're trying to target about 50 for 2 because you need to install them in pairs because, well, on the Model 30 there, it's a 16-bit machine, so they have to be installed in pairs. On the Model 80, if memory serves me, they have to be installed in sets of 4. Mm-hmm. So
that makes when you're trying to get the original ones, and if the machine has no RAM, that makes your $25 barn find like a $200 barn find.
Yeah. Yeah. Basically, a lot of the early machines only had 256 K sims in them and only had 4 slots. Mm-hmm. So you want to upgrade that 286 or 386 to more than 1 meg. Because, contrary to what people used to say way back in the 80s, mm-hmm. 1 meg is not all you'll ever need. 640K is not all you'll ever need.
Mm-hmm. Cool.
So,
awesome sauce. Cool beans. Well, I know you've got to run here soon in a little bit, Sloopy, so we'll go ahead and we'll let you jump off. But again, thank you for bringing us up to speed on what you got going on there. Awesome.
Cool. I don't have to talk about the other project I have going on.
Well, it depends on what it is and how much time you have. but yeah. Cool. Well, thank you very much, and I look forward to talking with you in the future to get those things up and running on the store.
Thank you for having me, and thank you for caring and supporting the products that I'm involved with.
You are welcome, sir. You're the bomb. If for those who don't know, Sloopy also helps me do assembly of BlueSCSI's, Pico Gus's, A2 Picos, and other stuff. So, yep. Cool. Thank you.
Does anyone need a BlueSCSI?
Yeah, he's got about 80 he has to send to me. So next up, speaking of BlueSCSI, let's go ahead and switch it over to, in my opinion, kind of the star of what helped me start all of this craziness. Eric, the BlueSCSI man himself. What's new in BlueSCSI land, Eric?
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, there's lots of new stuff happening in BlueSCSI, and like Joe said, that kind of reached out. It's been years now, and asked if could kind of collaborate and build BlueSCSIs, and it's gone well ever since. So yeah, people who don't know, BlueSCSI is a SCSI emulator. Slippy showed some, but it uses a Raspberry Pi Pico in the V2. We've had for a year or more now Wi-Fi capabilities, so you can get that old Mac online, and people are actually porting that driver to other platforms, Amiga and other things. So it's kind of interesting. It's been expanding that way so far. Yeah, and it's just really, I think the biggest thing is that I think BlueSCSI's kind of grown up from kind of a little niche Macintosh only SCSI emulator, or people were only considering it for Macintosh, to samplers, to Unix systems, to whatever you want to put a SCSI device in these days. We've had like 8 platforms now added to the BlueSCSI toolbox. So if you don't know what the BlueSCSI toolbox is, it's a set of APIs that I built in BlueSCSI. It was first for the classic Macintosh. And what it allows you to do is transfer files to and from the SD card that you use in the BlueSCSI. switch CDs, so you can have a folder full of ISOs or bin.q files and switch between them without taking out that SD card, and configure your wireless network for when you're using the Dynaport functionality, the Wi-Fi functionality. So I did that initially 2 years ago now for Macintosh, and we had 1 or 2 people kind of work on it on different platforms, but actually I finally documented the API, and after I did that, we now have 8 platforms that use the BlueSCSI toolbox. So we have classic Macintosh, Amiga, Atari, DOS, Windows, IRIX, and BOS is in progress, and Next. So I'm working on Next right now. Actually, someone from the community gave me a very, very good deal on a Next computer, pretty much just for cost, and he put it all together for me and shipped it to me. So I've been that's what I've been doing in my spare time, is building Next applications in 2024. So it's been kind of fun to learn. I mean, and that's really why I do this, is for fun. I'm not doing this to make $1,000 or millions of dollars. I'm doing this to get SCSI into people's hands that have old computers for a price that is reasonable. And yeah, so I mean, sellers like Joe and everyone else really helped me do that, because I couldn't assemble thousands of BlueSCSIs that go out every month or however long it is. So it's really, really great to allow me to focus on other things in the software side and build cool new features for all you old retro fans.
Absolutely. Yeah, the BlueSCSI's been really kind of the big thing that is kind of started me down the road of doing all this thing and working with vendors. I mean, before BlueSCSI, I had my own stuff in my store, but working with the BlueSCSI team, and it's not just Eric, but it's a team of like 5 or 6 of us, taught me a lot on how to work with the community to get something out there. So,
and definitely, and bringing that up, it's Joe. I know when we're building new designs, or I want to mention Androta too. He's the one who does most of the hardware development side. When we come out with new designs or new things, it's kind of Joe or Isle and all the sellers could kind of get a preview of it and kind of give feedback. So it's really great to kind of get that perspective from everyone to say, oh, it actually, if we do it this way, it's going to affect it some way that we didn't really anticipate. So having that kind of community there is awesome.
Cool.
And then one last thing I did want to mention too is that we'll actually have 5 BlueSCSI sellers at VCF Midwest. So myself, Joe, right? You're going. Tom, Jay, and Juicy Crumb, actually from Australia, is flying over for VCF Midwest. He's doing it more for his other projects, because he does some really crazy stuff with letting you do old iMacs into displays and things like that. But it'll be great to see all 5 of us there. You won't be able to walk 2 feet without getting a BlueSCSI handed to you. So should be great.
Absolutely. I love it, and I look forward to more cool things coming out with BlueSCSI in the future. We're keeping some things under our hat, and I'm adding some suspense here, but yes, things are happening in the background, and I'll just leave it at that.
Well, lots of cool new things. We're always developing new things, so just hang out in our Discord and you might catch a few hints of what's going on. And I just want to say our Discord just passed 2,000 people, so
it's awesome.
It's quite it's kind of awesome to see that many people just be interested in old computers.
Yep.
That many people with dead quantum hard drives.
Yep.
Stares over shoulder at Mac with dead quantum hard drive in it.
I mean, who'd have thought, except for anybody that owns a quantum hard drive.
How will I ever fix that problem? I have no idea. Awesome sauce. Thank you very much, Eric, for stopping on tonight. I do appreciate that.
Thank you.
Next up is I'm going to let our good buddy Ron.
Oh gosh.
Of Ron's computer videos.
Hey everyone. Give me just 1 second, and I will.
Did I jump? Do you want me to have somebody else go first?
No, it's fine. I just got to present a window so that way that people can kind of see what's going on. Okay. Here it is. thanks everybody, and especially thanks to Joe for putting this together tonight. A while back I was like, it'd be really great to come up with a way to kind of tell everybody all the neat stuff that people are working on, because it's very easy in our community. It's not a massive community of people, but there's enough people here that sometimes stuff gets kind of lost in the shuffle and you don't hear about it. And then a couple weeks go by and you're like, wait a minute, when were we talking about this? And it was like, oh, we were in Discord, or it was, they made an announcement over on Facebook or wherever. And so it's, this would be kind of a fun way for everybody to get together and kind of show off all the fun stuff they're doing. But this is kind of one of the designs that got me started with everything. This is my remote battery kit. I got sick of buying machines that had, battery leaked all over the motherboard. And so it's like, if I'm going to buy these machines and I want to have a battery inside, I want to do it maybe safe. So the design's really simple. It's a CR2032, those little lithium batteries. It's an imperfect world. They can leak too. It may not happen in our lifetime, but it might leak. So the idea is you have a little board that has a battery holder on it that you can mount somewhere remote inside your case, away from your motherboard, away from all your expensive video cards, away from all of your other stuff. So that way that if something were to happen, a worst case scenario, you're just cleaning some stuff off the metal on the case rather than scrapping a motherboard. So the design is set up. It'll work with Macs. It'll work with PCs. It'll work with anywhere where you need 3 volts. If you have a machine that tries to charge the battery, there's a diode in place. So that way it'll stop that from happening. You're going to put your machine into storage, flip the on switch to off, and that's it. It's got a 2.54 mil header, and it's also got some through-hole solder points. So whatever your application, you're ready to go. I also have a little, if you're going to use it in a Macintosh that uses a, so putting on top of the CPU heatsink, not a good idea. It's your stuff. I'm not your dad. You do whatever you want to do. But I will say that probably mounting it somewhere remote in your case is probably a good idea. But I also have a little 3D printable half AA little sabot that you can plop that down in the socket. You can run wires directly to that. So that way you don't even have to modify. You don't have to solder anything on your motherboard, whatever. The other thing that kind of got me going in the early days was a TTL adapter for classic Macs. So that way that you could basically do video output. If you had a period appropriate display, you could hook that up. I started looking around on eBay and I couldn't find any of those old TTL adapters for like Mac Classic, Mac Plus, all of that. And if you could, people wanted $50, $60, which I'm just like, this is ridiculous. This is not a very complicated thing. And many of them were just basically an IC and a couple of connectors, and that was it. And I'm like, there's got to be a better way. And the better way was designing a cheap alternative. So if you have one of those machines, you want to do video out, basically you can run some, and you've got a bunch of different options. You got IDC connections, you've got solder pads, you've got through-hole connections, and basically you get 5 volts over to the board, you get your video signal over there, it'll invert all the signals that need to be inverted and outputs it. You can connect it to, again, a period appropriate display that's compatible with the refresh rate of those machines, or you can plug it into an RGB to HDMI or other scalar solution. So that was just something fun, and that's been that was kind of my first foray into doing a lot of this. And then I went ahead and these are old products, but Joe said to also talk about those. But this is basically that same idea, but it's a pass-through connector. So that way, if you were going to do what I guess people kind of call a sleeper setup, what you can do is you place this in between the cable that connects the digital board and the analog board in your SE or your Classic. I've got a couple of different versions, and it just taps out the video signal. It gives you 5 volts, taps your video signal. You can send that off to the a TTL board. You can send it off to your RGB to HDMI and not have to make any modifications to your motherboard. So if you're not somebody that likes to solder, things like that, this might be a good solution for you. Again, it's basically the same solution, only this time it's for the Classic 2. Those machines have a different pinout on their J12 connector. So you want to make sure that you get the proper one, because otherwise you do kind of send some voltages to the wrong place. Yeah. The SE uses has -5 volts. It also has some other things that are wired a little bit differently. The Classic sends sound through the interconnect cable. The SE doesn't. So don't buy the wrong one.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
don't want to have a Javier 12 volts to ground situation.
Yeah. If you just want to play around with your board,
Or
you just wanna-
Javier.
yeah, you poor Javier. You if you just want to tap things out, I made a breakout that's basically just kind of based on the same idea. You pop it down in your SE or SE30 motherboard. It exposes all of the signals off of that Molex connection that you could very easily solder to for troubleshooting or whatever you want to do. And basically the exact same idea for the Classic and Classic 2, but those machines also have sound output on their connectors, so this makes accommodations for that. If you need, like, I don't own a bench power supply, but sometimes I just need 5 volts somewhere. I need 12 volts somewhere. Rather than go get the little wimpy little power brick that came with like a hard drive I bought 1,000 years ago, like one of those external USB hard drives, you can just plug an ATX power supply in and tap out whatever you need. There's sort of a, or gosh, whatever you call it, screw down connections on that header there. There's also through hole, a couple different options. If you need -5 volts, there's accommodations for the ability to do that. You add one little part. It does require a little bit of soldering, but unless you're using modems or something like that with your machine, there's a lot of, especially if you're going to hook this up to an old Mac, or I think there's one, like the external floppy uses the -5 volts as well. Maybe, I don't remember, but in any case, it's got accommodations for stuff. But you can see all of that stuff over in Joe's beautiful online store, jcm-1.com. I will very quickly run everybody through new stuff that I'm working on. I've got a couple of add-ons for the PowerBook. This is basically, if you think about the modem in your PowerBook, on the list of most useless things in 2024, that's probably near the top. So what you do is you can pull your modem out, and this is a nice little board that is sized to fit in the exact same spot. So the every PowerBook that you're going to have is going to have a dead clock battery, but this is a very simple solution to replace that. So you're not soldering directly on your interconnect board between that sits between the logic board on the PowerBook and between your display and to your display. You can basically just connect 2 wires and away you go. There's also a nice little thing here on the side that is the exact right size for a USB, or I'm sorry, a SD card extender. So if you have an internal BlueSCSI in your PowerBook, you can just mount that right there and access your SD card without having to take your whole machine apart. As you can see, the Happy Mac here on the back, he's got a little battery and he's got an SD card. So
he's got a happy SD card and an angry battery.
He does. Those pixies are very mad. Something else that might be of help to people, probably one of the rarest PowerBook accessories is a power brick for the 500 series machines, but they're very, very simple. It's basically just 16 volts. There are a lot of cheap power bricks that you can buy on eBay for sort of like sound bars for your home entertainment system. You pick up one of those 16 volt, 2 amp power bricks, and you can use this adapter, a couple of, gosh, what do you call those? DuPont cables and
Phoenix connectors.
Or Phoenix. This is called a Phoenix connector?
Yes.
Okay. Well, you can unscrew these and you can take a DuPont and stick it in the end there and just run it directly to your PowerBook and power your machine. You can, if you have a battery,
living together, mass hysteria.
I know, but you can. So it's got accommodations for you could charge the battery if you are one of the 3 humans that still have a working battery, or you can just power the machine. And it's got a pretty picture on the back.
I would say, just as a special gotcha on that, you probably want to make sure your wires you're using are a little bit thicker than standard DuPonts. I'm not sure those would reliably carry the wattage, amperage required to power the machine, but continue.
Or you can just cram 4 together in parallel to share the current.
There
Yeah.
you go.
I would say like on a lot of the stuff, especially that ATX, whatever you call it, the ATX breakout board, like 18 gauge, 16 gauge, kind of like for like ATX power supply kind of gauge, works pretty well.
Yeah.
But-
Trina's asking, can use a 16-volt IBM power supply?
No, I would not chop the end off of anything to just happen to make it work. So you could read when I get it out there. You could read more information about what power bricks are kind of recommended, but no. So something that was kind of a surprise hit recently was the Pico Micromac adapter board that basically allows you to take a Raspberry Pi. Eric from BlueSCSI was kind enough. He set up a website that lets you very quickly take a disk or prepared disk image and convert it where it can be flashed over to the Pico. I've done some videos about it. I won't belabor it too much, but we do have these backends. Well, we have maybe one in stock right now, but
they went out of stock yesterday. Again.
Okay. Well, there will be 80 more coming to Joe's store as soon as the shipment comes in from China. So
yeah.
But
it's the cool. To dig into the details of what this is, who might not know. Basically, it's a Mac 128K in something the size of a pack of gum.
Yeah.
It's
so,
great.
Yep. It's just a little tiny thing. When I'm done dropping it, you can mount a Pico on top of it and reflash it. There's a lot of fun things you could do with it, and not just Pico Micromac, but that was the inspiration. There's also some distributions that let you emulate some other 8-bit machines. There's something else you can. It's basically be like a terminal. There's a lot of neat stuff, and basically it uses the same exact pinout as those other projects, but this project got picked up by Tom's Hardware and Hackaday and places like that. So I just thought it'd be fun to play around with. And then something that I've been working on for a little bit that integrates a couple of older products is this SE30 ATX breakout / TTL adapter combo board. And what that does for you is basically combines a couple of different kits into one little thing. You can use a Pico ATX power supply that will then in turn, this connection here comes populated on the final board. But basically, this replaces the power supply and the analog board in your SE or SE30. You just run your internet cable from the motherboard over to this board. It splits out all your video. This version actually even has a J12 for another project that Gutbaum and I are working on, the SE Mini. And this modified version will probably be in Joe's shop any day now. 2 things for the Apple II, and then I'll get out of your way. This is something that I actually was thinking about for a long time. This is a DIP16 to DE9. Basically, the idea around this, and this socket is not actually populated on the final version, because the idea is there will be pins underneath here that will on a 2 or like a 2 plus that don't have like an external DE9 connection for attaching joysticks and drawing tablets, and there's even like a printer or something that connects to that. There's a couple of different options, but the idea will be basically that you can plug this into the board on your 2, and then it'll just give you a DE9. So that way that you can connect those newer devices without having to do it with a bunch of stuff dragging out through your case or whatever. So this is just for fun. I didn't order a whole lot of these. I just really wanted to play around with it more or less. But this is the thing that I like, that I think if I can get it to come up here. Or did it go away?
It's gone.
Oh, no.
Or my window is not big enough. Okay, well, hold on one second. I'll get it back. It's always something.
Got to be starting something. Got to be.
You know, I don't know if we should have shown Ron how to make PCBs. He just makes all of them now.
I know, that's just all I do anymore. But this is something else that I wanted to play around with, because it was kind of based on some things that used to exist but don't exist anymore. This is basically just a joystick switch. And when I say switch, I mean you can turn on joysticks, turn off joysticks without having to plug in and unplug your expensive Apple II joysticks. Now, granted, a DE9 is not a big deal, but a lot of those DIP 16 joysticks, the pins are thin and they're small and they're old. So if you had a way to plug your joysticks in and then just with a simple switch block, select which one you wanted to use, this is a solution for you. So it's basically just a board. It's pretty basic. But if you want to have a bunch of joysticks connected to your machine all at once, you can do that. The connector up here at the top is just a DE9. It'll just use just a straight through DE9 to DE9, like a serial modem cable. And then you can mount this somewhere on your desk that's more convenient.
So not a null modem cable.
No, that will be bad, Ray. But that's it. This is basically the big stuff I've been working on, and it's been a lot of fun. And I want to say thank you to everybody who has been so kind with their time and let me bounce ideas off of them and let me just kind of waste their time talking about all these silly little projects.
Ron, you're never a waste of time.
Well,
You're always awesome. So. Cool. And yeah, I look forward to being able to be an outlet for those things. Again, Ron's been very gracious with coming up with all these cool things and saying, Joe, can you help get these things out into the world? I'm like, I'll help you, buddy.
Yeah.
So super fun. Cool. So who's next? If Gut Bomb is ready, let's do Gut Bomb next, because he has something that's really, really cool and something that's really, really, I think, sought after.
So I'm Gut Bomb. You guys probably know who I am.
Hi, Gut Bomb.
If not, I've
Apple's
been using
anonymous.
computers.
I Gut Bomb. Anyway, go ahead.
I've been using computers my whole life, but I really fell in love with computers at school. And at school, we had Mac Pluses, Mac SEs, and Apple IIs. And pretty much the only thing I ever liked at school was playing with computers. And the thing that I liked the most was when they brought out the Legos, the Lego Technics that you could hook up to the Apple II and make robots and stuff. And I got a hold of a 2GS, which was my first Apple II that I had as an adult, just maybe about 6 months ago. And the first thing I went to look for on eBay was one of those Lego cards that they put in that operated this thing. And they're very expensive, like $1,500 expensive, because they were never sold on the retail market. They were sold, or they were given to schools, and then the schools would buy the education approved Lego bricks, and they would buy or they'd get the interface box to hook up to the card. This is the interface box right here. Sorry for the shaky cam. And they would operate a program called Lego TC Logo, which is you program your little Lego robots in Logo on an Apple II. I looked around, I found a schematic for the card, and I designed my own version of it that's easy to manufacture because everything is surface mount. This one's in a socket because it's a prototype, but it's a little tiny card, and I'm not infringing on any trademarks. Blocko.
Yes.
Blocko.
Yes.
Anyway, I have a working example, and I've built a little Lego robot, so I kind of want to demo. The code I wrote is bad, and it doesn't work 100%. But what's supposed to happen is this guy right here is supposed to go around the track, and it has an opto sensor on the bottom that can tell the difference between white and black. So I wrote some code to operate that. You'll see what happens.
The suspense is killing me.
I hope it'll last.
I hope it doesn't do 12 volt to ground immediately. Oh,
Neat.
Okay, so it goes until the opto sensor senses a different color,
Yeah.
and unfortunately, it triggers on shadows sometimes. But it's actually working well for the first time. This is the best run I've ever had with it.
That's really
And
great.
now it's stuck.
is it why you're gonna sell a deluxe version, which is a whole board full of LEDs?
Yeah, well, it's going. Every time it sees a color change in my carpet, it's changing. All right,
Mhm.
let's go back over here.
Let's not blame the code.
The card is not the issue. It's my
Yes.
crappy Lego code
Mhm.
or logo code because I
probably
haven't
more
done
than-
this since 6th grade.
Yeah,
Probably also the 40-year-old opto sensor too.
exactly. That's what I was going to say. It's probably just the sensor, but that's fine.
Is it also possible that it's not working 100% because we're not doing the Thomas the Tank Engine song?
We can try that off air. Anyway, these are going to be available on Joe's store
Awesome.
soon, and they will be significantly cheaper than $1,500.
Only 1,000?
Much less.
So 500, great.
I
Now,
got
they'll be
Yeah.
affordable for everyone. I mean, the Legos themselves and the interface box. The interface box is available on eBay. You can get these for like $40. They're pretty readily available. But the card itself is what's really hard to find.
And it's probably a similar situation to the Y cables and the graphics tablet stuff for the Apple II, is that the card in the machine would get separated from all of the Lego stuff and they would part. And then somebody would get this machine with the Lego card, like, I don't know what to do with this. Whee! And they would find it way later and like, well, everybody wants that. Money. Yeah.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Awesome. I am super glad that you tapped your childhood love for that old thing, and you're like, I want this to exist, and that's kind of what we're all doing here. It's like, this is a thing that needs to happen to keep our fun machines working, and I do appreciate that. I did have a question.
Either way,
Go ahead.
go ahead.
No, I was
when this is done, I'm going to also make an ISA version for PC because the software also exists for PC. And on the Commodore 64, it just uses a cable. So I'm going to make cables available as well.
Cool. That's awesome. So it's going to be multiple platforms. That's great. I love it.
Apple II is the best one, though.
Apple II forever.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have any plans to make a compatible interface box at some point?
Yeah, me and Cass Stark are working on a cloned interface box that it clones this, but it also makes newer Lego motors compatible, like the Mindstorms motors and things like that. That's like for the future, but because these are the 4.5 volt motors, and the newer stuff is 6 volts. So we're working on that.
That's cool. So instead of having to be reliant on finding the old stuff, you just go out and get Mindstorm stuff and plug it in and do the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
That is awesome. I love it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Neat. Cool. Well, I look forward to making those things available to the world for you, Gabam. I do appreciate that.
Well, yeah, and once it's available, other people can write better logo code, and maybe we can make it go all the way around the track once.
And like support the high torque, high power Mindstorms ones, and make them like fly off into the wall and rip all the cables out.
Yes.
Cool. I would love to see one of those Brick Innovations channels on YouTube or something. Set one of those up to do a video. That would be awesome.
That would be neat.
Cool. Well, thank you very much, sir. Next up is Mr. 1-Bit Fever Dreams.
Hey. So
And
my name is
some
Yeah,
new things
go
he's
ahead.
going to talk about. So go ahead.
So my name is Michael. I'm mostly known for my One Bit Fever Dreams YouTube channel, concentrating on old Macintosh. But I'm kind of a PC game fiend as well in the DOS era. So both of my products are kind of related to this. Uh, like describing me as a vendor is very generous and it does a lot of work. But the two products I've designed, like I've used them in a kind of prototype fashion for a few months now, and they're really useful for that use case scenario that I personally have, and my hope is that it's useful for other people as well. So the first one, the objective was to get going with PCB designing, so I got some help from these people in the stream. And like basically the first one is a MIDI switch selector, because I have a bunch of Roland devices for MIDI sound. So if you spend any time like watching videos for PC games, you'll end up watching some Phil's Retro Lab and they're gonna, or LGR, and they're gonna talk to you about that great Roland MIDI sound for PC games of the era of the early 90s. And soon enough, you'll be collecting, just like me, a few of these boxes that you find on the Facebook Marketplace or other places pretty cheaply. And the thing is, in the 90s, those things would cost like $700, $800. And nowadays, it's pretty expensive to get the interface card, the MPU 401 interface that you need for PC. And so basically, you'll soon be in need of a box that switches the signal to a few of your MIDI sound modules. And when you go on Amazon, you can find stuff like MIDI through boxes, which are very useful for musicians, but they're like $50 or $100. So I set out to design what's basically just a few switches here. So it's a perf board, and I use two switches to select which input goes in this thing, and another switch to select the output. So basically, there's only one active instrument, if you will, or a MIDI source, which could be a PC or a Mac or a Atari ST or any vintage computer that produces MIDI, or it can be a synth. Your regular 88 keys synthesizer you have at home that has a MIDI out. It can be one of the inputs in this, and the output is whatever is producing the sound waves, the actual music that you hear. So this is a perf board that's double-sided. This is early in the design, back in February, I think, and it has to route two signals at once. And when it was all done, it looked a little more compact and presentable. And so here you can see it's fully populated with 3 choices in the inputs down there and 3 choices in the output. So when I showed it in a video I did recently, someone commented asking for a PCB version of this. So I just figured out why not ask for some help to these great people around here. And then the thing is, it's such a simple design that it takes about 2 or 3 days to finalize. And when I mean finalize, is design and make the PCB itself. So here it is. So this is a design that I have en route to me right now. I'm getting them next week. So you can see the 3 switches down there. The cost of the components is not very high, but I'm not a vendor. I have no experience in this. I kind of need help to figure out the best shipping option, which is where Joe's store come in, and it's going to be very helpful to get this thing going. And if you have more modest needs, well, I made a 2x2 version as well. So I don't know what the need for this is. We'll find out, I guess. It was more of a practice run for PCB design for me. If it doesn't sell, it doesn't bother me because I moved on to better things already since last week. And like one of the frustrating things about MIDI sound, like it's great when you got that new option for creating for like producing the actual sounds on a PC. It's one of the most cherished experience that vintage DOS gamer have. It's when you finally get that new sound card and re-experience the games all over again. One of the frustrating things, though, is that if you need MIDI, like with proper MIDI producing sound, like music boxes, the thing is you have to use your joystick game port. And a few years ago, I got this from Certa Shop, based in Belgium, and it kind of does what you can see right there. It uses a joystick port, a DB15, and it produces 2 MIDI outs. But the thing is, when you use this, you can't use a joystick. So that means it rules out playing these games with a joystick and with MIDI at the same time. Or like these games, such as Zelyard from Sierra, which is also a great game to play with a gamepad. Like this little guy, it's a platform game, so you want to use the gamepad, but you also want to use the MT32 at the same time. But the thing is, it uses both ports. It uses the same port, I mean. So hence I made this, which I called the PC Game Port Party, and it gives you all the options that you would ever want to use. So you have your MIDI out, so you can get that great sound.
It's on a screen, we can't see it.
Oh, sorry. Here we go.
There we go.
So the PC Game Port Party is a break card board. You connect your PC with this through a ribbon cable, and you basically have everything with no compromise. So MIDI out to get that great sound for your MIDI module that you probably have. And if you can't find a vintage MIDI module, there are like modern day solutions like the MT32 Pi solution that you can build relatively cheaply under $100. It gives you a lot of options. But the game port is also good to support 2 players at the same time. And basically, if you remember from the PC days, you can have up to 4 digital buttons at once. And when some games used 2 controllers, they actually divided the buttons into within 2 joysticks. And you also have 4 analog axes like X1, X2, Y1, and Y2. And some very complicated joystick would actually use all of them within a single joystick. And which is why I took what I learned from the Switch from the previous project and I applied it here. And you can select the mode here with 1 player, which gets everything absolutely on the Joy 1 port. If you have a very complicated joystick, like a flight stick with a throttle and bunch of stuff, you can plug it all in Joy 1 and like use every 100% of its functionality. But if you happen to have a friend playing PC games at your home, which is something that never happened in the history of mankind, probably. But still, if you want to try it out, you can put it in 2-player mode, and player 1 will get buttons 1 and 2, and player 2 will get the other 2s. And the analog axes are split together. So, and the other thing that I almost never see mentioned in the retro PC community is the MIDI in as well. So this is the part of the schematic that no one ever bothers with. So you could plug something like this, and you can compose music in MS-DOS using very old software like Cakewalk or others, Voyatra, I think it's called.
Very old software that is still flipping awesome, by the way. It still works great.
These softwares are amazing. I like since last week I designed this board, and I wanted to go all the way through all of the use cases of this board on a breadboard. So did I keep it? No, I didn't. Anyway, so I like everything you see on screen here. This old board exists on a breadboard right beside my PC, and I've tried the MIDI in use case and everything, and it worked great. I learned Cakewalk within the afternoon, and and all the ports work. The routing is supposed to work, and I'm getting the boards in a few weeks. So I'll test it out. If it works great, it might make it into Joe's store if it makes sense economically. But that's not my department. I'm gonna need some help from Joe or others to make it a reality. So
Well,
that's it.
we will definitely help you make that a reality. I think those are really cool options for things that just have never really existed before, and I look forward to seeing what people can come up with to make those things work. So I look forward. Really do look forward to it. It's gonna be fun. It's gonna be fun. We're gonna make it happen for you.
Thanks.
Thank you. So, let's see. Where are we on our list? Oh my gosh, it's Tom Barber. Hi, Tom. So where are we on our list? Yes, now we're going to go into the section of our vendors who couldn't be here tonight for one reason or another. A couple of vendors couldn't be here due to personal reasons. One of them can't be here because he is in Europe and has been asleep for 4 hours already. And one of them is, who was in the chat earlier, Bob. I'm sorry, I forgot to invite you. I'm an awful human being. But we will go through those vendors real quick. The first one is going to be our friend Rudy of Rudy's Retro Intel. The primary thing that Rudy has is the Tiny Comp, which I will see if I can bring it up here real quick. I'm a little bit behind on my presentation here because I've been busy listening to our wonderful friends. Thank you, Rod, for clicking the buttons. Yes. Rudy's Tiny Comp. Now, this has been in the store for a couple of years now, and it's popular. People love this little thing. Basically, what it allows you to do is connect this this little doodad, which is basically the size of a United States quarter, or I think that's a toonie. Yep, it's the size of a toonie. And you hook it up to the RF output of your vintage computer, and it converts it into composite. And then you can shove the composite into your composite screen, and then you've got good, clear, high quality video, way clearer than RF. So you can kind of see the better quality video capabilities there. Here it is side by side. You can kind of see here the top being the RF and the bottom being the composite, how much clearer that signal is. So it does a really, really good job of doing that. Let's see here. And it comes with all the little wires and stuff and doodads to just wire it right up. And it has multiple different sets of instructions for different machines here. So it is super duper. You get two of these for $8 in a kit, or $16 assembled. Wow. And they are super duper awesome. So you can improve the video quality of a lot of those old machines that just really didn't have any option other than RF. So I love those. And another quick thing about Rudy, he has some other things that are in the works that he was talking about a little bit on Retro Repair Roundup last Sunday. Basically, hey, Gutbomb had to leave. No problem, Gutbomb. Thank you for being on. I appreciate that. He had a couple of things that he had for diagnostics and repair of vintage Macintoshes that hopefully he will have up available soon. And he's also working on some diagnostic carts for I believe the PET and the Commodore 64 as well for doing things. So he's got a lot of cool things coming out. So I look forward to seeing those from Rudy in the future. And as always, Rudy, you're the bomb. Next up would be, I'm going to go next with Oliver Schmidt. He is a gentleman who is in Europe, but he has made this really cool thing called the A2 Pico, which he actually had a presentation at Kansas Fest this year about that. Basically, what the A2 Pico is you can think of it as a universal peripheral card for the Apple II. It has several firmwares already available for it that you can get that can make it a Raspberry Pi interface device, or a CPM device, or a soft SP device, or even the simple ProDOS block device to make it basically like a hard drive or floppy drive, a kind of emulator for your Apple II. And it can just switch between the firmwares. Oh, you want it to be something different today? You just plug in the USB, switch the firmware, and it's this other thing now, and it's super awesome. One of the best things about it is that it is pretty much open source, and he wants it to be kind of platform with an ecosystem. Because he has really well documented the API for programming this device. All it takes is a little bit of effort and some knowledge in programming a Pipeco. And you want to redesign it to be a serial port? Okay. Do you want to design it to be a sound card? Sure. You can basically reprogram this thing to have it do whatever you want it to do. So the idea is for it to be that single unified card for the Apple II. He's also designed it with two different designs. The SMD design is the one that's going to be in my store because I can build them en masse and have them available for the public. But there's also, if you wanted to build one yourself, you can go out and get the schematic and all the software for it. Build one yourself. It's all through hole. There's no CPLDs or weird programming. It's really easy to build. So I'm super happy to be able to provide that to the community here, at least here in the United States, for Oliver. So it is super, super awesome. Next up on our list is the gentleman that I forgot to invite because I'm an awful human being, and that's Bob Darlington. So what Bob has designed, and let me pull it up here. Where is it? Yes, here it is. So Bob has designed a reimagining of the stereo interface for the Apple IIgs. What a lot of people don't understand about the Apple IIgs is it actually can produce full 2-channel audio, but Apple, for whatever reason, did not send stereo out the rear port, whether they were trying to prevent prevent competition with the Mac, whether it was a technical reason, nobody's really quite sure. But the Ensoniq chip on there can do that. So all you need is the ability to tap into that and split that out, and you can do it. So he took existing schematics designs, recurjiggered it, so to speak, in a way that you can connect it up, attach it to the back with some adapter doodly stuff here, and then you can get stereo audio out of your Apple IIgs. So that's been in the store for a while now, and it comes and goes as production comes in and out. But hopefully we'll have another run of those really super soon. Other cool things. Who else do we have on the list that I want to talk about? Yes, and let's talk about the how can we say the other big product that has come here recently would be the PicoGus. The PicoGus version 2. For those who don't know about that, of course, it is basically the universal ISA sound card for old computers that uses a Pipeco to do that. It can do the Gravis ultrasound. There you go. He's got it up there. Hey, yeah, I can do that too. Don't steal my thunder. No, you're fine.
Unlike you posers, mine is in a computer.
Yeah.
I'm using
Well,
mine.
Ron, I have 82 in a
still have
box.
my-
I know. I'm joking.
No, it's
I still have my version 1 in my 46, so
yes.
just too lazy to swap it out.
And it is super duper cool. However, I want to give Ian himself the opportunity to talk about that. He was not able to make it because he had a last minute personal scheduling change that involved him going and picking somebody up at an airport when this stream is running. So he was able to pre-record me a little video. So let me play that for you guys real quick. If I can remember how to do that, I have to click this button and click this button and click this button and hit go.
Hey Joe and everyone else watching, I'm Ian. I am the creator of the PicoGus. And if you don't know what the PicoGus is, it is a card that can go into pretty much anything with an ISA slot. PC clone, 46, Pentium, 386. You can even go into 86s or 8088s, but it really shines on like Pentiums, 46s, stuff of that era. It can emulate a Gravis ultrasound. It can emulate a Sandblaster 2.0 with AdLib. It can emulate CMS or Game Blaster or Tandy 3 voice, some kind of niche audio formats, which are kind of cool to experience firsthand. And you can also do cool stuff with it, like plug in a USB joystick. And something else that's new, and I'm going to show that off in a little bit of a clip in a little bit. You can plug in a mouse as well, USB mouse, and it can emulate a serial mouse. Really nice and smooth, better than a real serial mouse. which are really laggy and slow because they're like a 1200 baud or something like that. So yeah, Joe sells the PicoGus at jcm-1.com. Yeah, check it out. And I'm going to show you a couple of really cool things that are new to the PicoGus. One is what I just mentioned, the serial mouse support. I'll show some Monkey Island simultaneous with ad-lib audio going at the same time. And also another thing is simultaneous MPU 401 emulation with Sound Blaster. So I can play some Descent. I'm also going to have a USB joystick plugged in, an Xbox controller, so you can see that running in real time. So let's look at some cool stuff.
And that's the end of the little video.
Cool.
Cool.
Yeah,
He's
I mean,
judging us for not having one already.
Yes, yes.
I-
No, really the PicoGus is really like the coolest thing since the BlueSCSI. Sorry, Eric.
it's pretty cool.
No, I kind of see it as like that. Similar to the BlueSCSI, what the BlueSCSI has been for the Mac, the PicoGus kind of has been for the PC. It's been really super awesome. The big thing that he didn't really mention in his video that I wanted to mention is that the PicoGuses in the past, especially V2, the big thing with those is that if you wanted to change modes, you had to actually upload a new firmware to it and go through this process to change the firmware for the mode. He has now unified all of those into a single firmware. So all you have to do is rerun the config, and it switches the mode for you. So super duper awesome. No more plugging USBs or putting all the firmwares on your PCs.
Yeah. Or not
Storage,
having to
upload
not
them.
having a power cycle to switch modes. That's really handy,
Yeah.
especially if you have a machine that's like not the most stable thing of all time, or you have a machine that takes a long time to go through, count RAM, whatever.
An IBM 5150.
I have a IBM 486 with a, I think, 17-inch CRT, so I had to remove that on a chair, open the metal case, which is like horrible, and I was so glad to do the firmware thing, software wise.
So super duper awesome stuff.
I remember when Ian was selling them by himself, he kind of was in the same situation I was in the beginning.
Yes.
And he kept getting sold out, and I see him post pictures. Oh, I just ordered 100 more boards, and they're sold out. It's like I messaged him on Discord. I was like, "Have you reached out to Joe? Because he can help you with this." And the rest is history.
I immediately worked with him and went through all of the insanity, crazy process that is working with the vendors in China. He has some very specific chips that are only available in bulk through Chinese suppliers for whatever reason they are. The main reason is that because they're all made over there, they're cheaper to get from there. If you get them from U.S. suppliers, they cost 4 times as much, which raises the price for everyone, which is something we try to avoid. But anyway, I digress. But went through all that process, ordered 450 of those units, and in 2.5 months, they're gone. I am down to like 60 or 50 or so. To everybody who's watching, who's like, oh my gosh, what's happening to the stock? Oh, I'm working on another order of 450 of them, so don't you worry. I plan to bring a nice chunk of them to VCF Midwest as well, and I'll have them in a backpack, and I'll be wandering around. So if you see me, just tap me on the shoulder and say, give me sound, please, and we'll make that happen for you. So super duper awesome. Again, I do want to thank Eric kind of for putting me in touch with Ian on that, so that we can make that happen and make sure that those things are universally available always. I'm doing my very best to keep that in stock, period. So super duper. What is next on the list? We're finally down to me and my stuff. The stuff that started all this.
Yeah,
crazy.
you make stuff too, don't you?
I actually do make my own branded product, if you could believe that. I don't have my own section on my website. It's just all kind of mixed in. But basically, my primary focus, and I'll just go back to the story which started all of this. One of my wonderful friends, Britt Dodd, traded me an Apple III, or really a couple Apple IIIs for a Macintosh. The problem with that is one of those Apple IIIs had a dead keyboard controller. And if you don't know anything about the Apple III, well, let me tell you, the Apple III's keyboard controller is unique to the Apple III. Nothing else uses it. It does use it uses a chip that is generalized to some degree, but it has a custom key mapping, a custom matrix map on it that's only used for that machine. So if you had an Apple III and your keyboard encoder failed, the only way to get another one was to steal one from an Apple III. And I was not having that crap. I refuse to let Apple IIIs die because something as dumb as a keyboard encoder. So I spent the better part of a month reverse engineering the silly thing from a schematic, not from the schematic, from the data sheet. I don't have it here, but wired it up on a little piece of perf board, stuck it in, and oh my gosh, it freaking worked. It was insane. And then I made the universal keyboard encoder out of that. And that was my very first product. And that kind of took off. And it taught me a lot of things about how to order PCBs, how to design PCBs, how to do surface mount soldering and all that stuff, which led me to have the chutzpah and wherewithal to say yes to when Eric said, "Hey, Joe, do you want to build BlueSCSIs? I need help." And I'm like, "Let's do it." But other than that, lots of other things that I have too. It's not just that keyboard encoder, but specifically, if everything for the Apple III ever. So here's the original one. It's still there in the private thing. This is what the original keyboard encoder looked like. But yeah, I have the replacement for every single custom chip in the Apple III, period. So if you have an Apple III and it's broken and it's one of the custom chips, it is now fully repairable 100%. Cap kits, color corrector, like for example, the composite color that comes out of the Apple III is garbage. It's here. It's not right. This is not what it's supposed to be. See, the orange looks pink. It's not supposed to be pink. It's supposed to be orange. So it's all because of the way they did the phase relationship of the color burst to the pixel clock, blah, 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 blah. This thing basically is a little delay line, and it solves it. The universal Apple RGB adapter. A lot of people don't know, but the Apple III has excellent digital RGB coming out of it. Full digital RGB. And I created a little adapter that allows you to adapt it to CGA, which is kind of sort of close to the right colors, but I just kind of mapped it to what the CGA colors are. Or it does all this resistor logic here, this resistor ladder garbage, to allow you to do, or allow you to connect it up to an Apple IIgs monitor, for example, or any 15 kilohertz RGB monitor. You plug it in, you do your whatever adapter cable, and there you go. It does the thing. So that you can have actual proper color. You don't want to do that? That's fine. Did you know that the Apple II or the Apple III actually has composite color video coming out the back of it? It does. And this little adapter allows you to do that. There are people on eBay, and this is what ticks me off. I'm going to stare at the camera. There are people on eBay that sell an option like this for like $30 or $40, and that's stupid. I hate it. $7. $7. And it solves the problem because I'm all about solving problems.
Yeah.
Yeah, lots of different stuff for the Apple II and the Apple IIe and all of that. But the big thing that I want to talk about, the brain resetting, rebooting. The Clipper Plus, which allows you to have internal SCSI on the Mac Plus for the BlueSCSI. The Titan 3 Plus 2 kit, which allows your Apple III to be both an Apple III and an Apple II. The Y cable, which allows you to, use your Apple IIe card in your Mac as an Apple IIe card because nobody has the cable. Instead of charging exorbitant, insane fees on eBay for that, it's like $20. It's just solving problems. But the big thing I wanted to talk about, which is coming up soon, other than all of these other things that all these cool people are bringing to the table, is going to be The Diamond Trackstar. Oh my gosh, I finally got boards for this thing. So what is the Diamond Trackstar? The Diamond Trackstar Plus is a card that goes into your IBM PC. This is the stripped board, just because it happens to be free and everyone I was able to grab it. It plugs into your PC, any PC with an ISA slot. Faster PCs tend to work a little bit better, like 486s, but this goes like all the way back to like 286s and whatever. It might even technically work in an IBM 5150 if it has VGA video. Maybe? I don't know. I haven't tried it yet. But you run this with a little piece of software on your IBM PC, and then it is fully compatible with an Apple IIe. And this is an Apple IIe on a board that uses your IBM PC kind of as a console. So you want to run video games with double high-res graphics? Sure, it does it. Do you want to have a full 19-pin connector on the output or on here for your external Apple II floppy drive? It's got that. It has full VGA pass-through so that it can automatically switch between the PC mode and the Apple II mode using a single monitor, so you don't have to have anything crazy like that. It supports the Unidisc floppy drives. So if you want to use like the 800K discs with like ProDOS, it does that. And what was the other big thing? The software that comes with this allows you to put disk images on the PC and mount them and boot them to this without having to have like a floppy EMU or a floppy drive. Cool stuff. So you can basically set up with this, and then like maybe a PicoGus, and maybe a nice VGA video adapter for your old computer. You can set all of these things up on one console on your desk and do all of the retro PC computer things all at once. So it's super awesome. So hopefully now that the boards, the new boards for these, they're here somewhere. I don't remember. They're down here somewhere. Came in. So I should be able to build up one of these and test it if it works. Those will be coming out soon. So that is the cool new thing from me.
I didn't realize that's what that was. I knew you were working on something, but that's pretty cool.
Yes, I think it's going to be super awesome. I want to thank Jonathan Adar for putting me in contact with the guy who goes by the name of Discman, I believe. His name, what's he go by? Yeah, I have the box here. He calls himself Discman on the internet. But basically, he has a website that has documentation and details for every single Trackstar that has ever existed. And he shipped me that's his original Trackstar to reverse engineer, clone, and get working. And we got it mostly working, but there were a lot of issues with the clone. So I had to buy another card. You don't want to know how much I paid for it, but easily 3 times as much as what I'm going to retail the card for. So that I could check out those things. But lots of help from the community to get that happening. So I do appreciate their help. Lots of expense in getting this card running too. I had to ship all of the PAL chips over to a company in China to reverse engineer them because they were not normally reversible because they were registered PALs. So they would maintain weird state machine states in between. So you couldn't just read them out. Right. So they would change how they function based on what went in previously. So so lots of stuff, but hopefully that'll come out soon. I'm going to aim for before the end of the year, and then we'll have another cool way to play with our old computers. I like it. So I do plan on doing a what do you want to call it? A redesign of this before going full tilt with it that uses surface mount, so it can be much more quickly and easily manufactured. I've learned that from the Titan boards and from the soft card boards, having to build those and install like 87 chips and 120 resistors and capacitors and crap. It takes 4.5 hours to build that. No, let's make the robot overlords build it. And while I'm doing that redesign, I can, I don't know, speed up the Apple IIe a little bit on it, because it does run at 2 megahertz. That's the other thing about this. That's a double speed Apple IIe, which is really cool if you're trying to do something like Apple Works or something, if you want to do something, boring with it and you need that speed. But there's nothing stopping me from putting in faster chips and clocking the CPU up a little bit faster, because it already has all the logic to slow the machine down for IO and all that stuff. Just send it a faster clock. I don't know. Lots of ideas and thoughts. So cool stuff coming up. And then you have some undisclosed stuff to test from undisclosed people, just saying. Yes, Francois sent me some stuff. I'll just put that way to test to see if we can do. I'm sorry, Francois. I'm very, very, very behind. I apologize. I also apologize to CDI if you're still watching. I'm very behind on that too. Our wonderful friend Eric Androta sent me some cool things to test out that I have technically, in theory, the authority to resell, but I haven't gotten to it yet because time. It is what it is, but lots of cool things going on. So enough about me personally. Let's get back to us as a group. I would like to say that I am very, I don't know, humbled / honored / whatever.
Gassy.
Gassy. Well, to be given the opportunity to work with all these cool people in the community. Eric, thank you for your faith in me at the beginning and really helped me get started. Ron, thank you for being a super awesome friend. Same with Gut Bomb. Sloopy, thank you for being funny as hell. Bob Darlington, super thanks. Ian is Ian Scott, great guy. Oliver, I have never met Oliver. I have only talked to him in email. Thanks, Oliver. You're great. Got Bomb's great. Rudy, of course, we know is the bomb. And last but not least, our friend Michael, One Bit for Fever Dreams. Thank you very much for being super awesome.
For being Canadian.
Yes, for being Canadian, because Canadians always go last because Canadians are the best. Yeah, it's been a super fun ride, and hopefully, in the next year or so, we're gonna have even more cool things from cool friends to do. Two final words. One, if you've watched this stream and you're thinking, I got something cool that I think the community could use, hit me up. Mm-hmm. Because what I like to do is be the guy that makes that dream happen for you. You design it, you produce it, and you're like, here, Joe, put it into the world. And I can do all that stupid, boring day job paperwork crap and get it out there for you.
And that's exactly why I went to Joe, because I was like, I don't want to mail things. I don't want to box things. I don't want to deal with the admin side of this. You're already doing those things. And this is the thing that Joe frequently forgets to mention, is like a lot of my items are just like $1 or $2 or like under $10 for sure. And so what happens is if I try to sell that, I try to sell you something for $3, there's going to be $5 shipping with it. And it destroys like the ability to sell something like that, because people don't want to spend that much on shipping. But they'll certainly go out to Joe's website and they'll be like, oh yeah, I want to get that battery thing from Ron, and I want to get 1-bit's MIDI adapter. I want to get a BlueSCSI. I want to get a keyboard encoder, and I want to do this. I want to do that. And now you've got it all where you're keeping those shipping costs really low, and that's savings for you as a consumer. And it's easy for you as somebody that just wants to get something out in the world. So it's win-win for everybody.
Somebody called me. I won't say the name of the company, but you're the large bookseller of the computer industry, if that makes sense. In a way, yes.
Yeah, you're certainly the B. Dalton bookseller, that's for sure.
Yes.
Maybe like a Walden's.
A Walden's, a Borders. Oh wait, no, they went out of business. Damn.
Oh, all those other places are out of business too.
Yeah, no, they're all gone. But seriously, and that's kind of what I like doing. I like being that one place where you don't have to do all the work. You can put all of your efforts into the creative design, making it work, doing the firmware, all of that stuff. And you're like, Joe, make go.
Yeah.
And I will do the make go.
Yeah.
And then I can put my focus in the make go, because that's what I do. I do that. I like to think pretty well. So Yes, awesome sauce. Again, well, that's pretty much where we are for this evening. We've run through all the vendors. Lots of cool new things coming up in the next few months. Keep an eye out for all that. I want to thank every single one of my vendors who has agreed to work with me over the years. I'm just a guy who runs a website and ships stuff. You're the ones who actually design the product, test the product, and make it happen. And, I couldn't do it without you. Of course, I can't do it without all the wonderful people in the chat and out there in the world who have come to the website, seen that's a cool thing. I want that thing.
Mm-hmm.
And then they buy the thing and they use the thing. And then they go back out into the world and be like, hey, did you know about this cool thing? This thing is cool. So thank you to all the wonderful customers out there who have put their faith in us and in all of the vendors here to do the thing. So,
Joe, I'm just saying, I'm just a girl standing in front of a boy asking him to ship all of his PCBs.
Yes, sure. I don't remember the reference, but yes, I'll take it.
Oh, come on, man. It's Notting Hill. Come on.
Mm-hmm.
You have to have seen that at least once. Anyway, it's fine.
Yes. And you get a free JCM-1 sticker most of the time with every order, unless I sometimes forget to put it in the order. I'm sorry if I do. But
those stick perfectly on government buildings.
Yeah. Shh. Hey, wait, my stickers don't have the URL on it, so it's just 8 bits are all you need, Yeah. So again, thanks for everybody for stopping by. We'll go ahead and wrap this up. Thank you everybody for watching the stream. I do appreciate that. Remember to go out to jcm-1.com. Get all the cool stuff for your computers. And yeah, that's it. Those who are here, do you want to do one little last thing? Tell everybody where they can find you. Who wants to go first? Ron, go first. Ron.
Hey everybody, it's Ron from Ron's Computer Videos. If you're interested in seeing what I'm up to this week or next week or the week after that, but not 3 weeks from now, that's Willie's time. You can find me at ronscompvids.com.
Cool. Michael.
I'm Michael. You can find me mostly on YouTube in the channel 1-Bit Fever Dreams that you can see right here. I also have a link tree that's very filled with every social media and it exists. So it's a link tree 1-Bit Fever Dreams as well. So look for activity mostly in the YouTube channel though.
And finally, of the people who are here, Eric.
Yeah. Eric, you can find BlueSCSI on JCM1.com, and you can find me on various socials. I run the BlueSCSI there, and mainly I hang out on tinkerdifferent.com and the Open Retro SCSI Discord. So those are the best places to kind of reach out and find me if you have a question or want to do some SCSI stuff.
Cool. And for all of the vendors, I believe I have links to everybody's, at least their YouTube channels or other linkadoodles in the description of this video. If I don't, I will put it in the description after the stream ends. And so you can find where to follow all of these wonderful people. Thank you very much, everybody, for stopping by, and have a good evening. Bye! That's the wrong button.